Yes, indeed. It is Ringside Report MMA. Tonight on the show, we're previewing UFC 304. Let's go.
Let's go.
That's right. I say let's go. Then the guy says let's go. And that other guy that you just heard say let's go is the only other voice you'll hear tonight other than mine, because it's me, just me, no AJ and no Fred tonight on Ringside Report MMA. And you know what that means. It's going to be pandemonium. But I'm here back from vacation. I was off last week. The whole network was dark last week. We are back in full effect. I'm back here tonight, but Fred and AJ still on vacation. These guys just chilling all the time, always on vacation, always relaxing. I'm here for you. I had to be here for Angelo Contagonis. I had to be here for Brooklyn Lizard. I had to be here for Johnny North even though the only comment I see from Johnny North in the chat is Mets 12, Yankees 3. Wasn't that yesterday? That was yesterday, though, right? I don't think the Yankees are playing tonight. Unless they are. I don't know. I haven't checked so far. Are they playing tonight? I don't think so. Nope. Mets are playing, beating the Braves 2-1. But the Yankees are not. That was yesterday. An unfortunate 2-game series that the Yankees lost both games in. Coming off the All-Star break, they split a 4-game set with the Rays. I thought, okay, and then they lose 2 straight to the Mets, which sucked. And the Yankees are back to sucking. And, I like DJ LeMahieu, but since he's come back and they've taken Oswaldo Cabrera out of the lineup, the team has been worse. And DJ has not been producing, so at what point do you say, okay, let's get Oswaldo back in there more often? Just makes sense. He was playing great. DJ was hurt. DJ comes back, gets his spot back, but is not producing like Oswaldo was. So at what point does the manager make a decision, or is the front office thing where it's like we're paying DJ a certain amount, so we have to keep him in there? But that sucks if that's what's going on, because it's costing the Yankees baseball games. At a certain point, they got to figure it out, because this team was too good early in the season to be this bad right now. It's just, the lineup isn't working, the hitting isn't working. It's the same problems as last year for the Yankees, and they got to make some adjustments. It's really troublesome for me. Yes, Lior. Solo Dave tonight, which, sometimes happens on Wrestling Uncensored, but very seldom happens here on Ringside Report MMA. The fact that Fred and AJ are both off is odd. Lior wants to know when I'm moving to the Maritimes. Saw on Twitter I was quite upset with Montreal the other day. I mean, yeah, it's general upsetness, I guess. I would love to move to the Maritimes. I would. It would be nice. I don't know when that'll happen. It may happen, though. I've been talking about it for years. I want it to happen. Maybe I'll just keep willing it into existence. There are certain things that are keeping me here in Montreal beyond my control. Family and friends and stuff like that. But if I could get out, I think I would. Because I've noticed a downward trend in the city. I would love to come to New York City, Miss Brooklyn Lizard. That would be fantastic. But unfortunately, it's very tough for Canadians to get the proper visa to work in the United States. It's hard to make money in the States, as a Canadian. It's hard to live there more than 6 months out of the year legally, unless you figure out some sort of citizenship green card deal, which is not easy to get. It would be cool to live in New York. I would like to live in New York City. New York City, it's expensive, but it's happening. Things are going on there. It's a center of something. Montreal seems like just a steady decline of nothingness. It's disappointing. no baseball team, no stadium for, that could have a WrestleMania or a Royal Rumble. I used to enjoy going to the comedy festival. That's not really a thing anymore. I saw some people trying to revive it, but it's not, it's not what it was. It's kind of a halfway deal. There's just not that much going on for me that's attracting me to this place. And there's a lot of issues, transport, travel, cost of living, where you go, well, what's some of the things, that you attribute to the cost of living. You go, well, you're in the city and it's a hub and there's this and there's that. But for me, I'm starting to go, well, what is there exactly? What do we have? What do we get out of all this? What's the payback? I'm not seeing a lot of payback, so. AJ and Dave and Dave in Moncton sounds pretty good, says Johnny North. Leor says, yeah. I mean, Moncton wouldn't be bad, I don't think. I like New Brunswick. I love Nova Scotia. I'll say that. I like New Brunswick. I love Nova Scotia. So if it's Maritimes, it may start in New Brunswick and just continue drifting east until I wind up in Newfoundland or something. PEI. PEI would be nice, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, Moncton. Is there an IHOP in Moncton, Leor? I do like IHOP. How do you know I like IHOP? I do like a good pancake. A nice stack of cakes. Who doesn't? Do you have IHOP in Moncton? That's crazy. We don't have IHOP here. We don't have Taco Bell anymore. We don't have Red Lobster anymore. I like these places. These are places I like to go. It was discussed on a previous episode that I like IHOP. Wow, you got IHOP in Moncton. Dang, next time I'm headed down to Nova Scotia, I'll stop in Moncton for some pancakes, brother. Sounds terrific. Or maybe I'll just move to Moncton and have IHOP every Sunday. Huh? Moncton's not bad. Fredericton, maybe, Not bad, brother. It's not a bad move. But yeah, it is frustrating living in Montreal, living in Quebec. There's a lot of issues that people dwell on that I feel like, if we move past that stuff, we could get to greener pastures. We could get to a better place. It would be nice. It would be ideal. But unfortunately, people are stuck in nonsense here. Slows everybody down. Let's stop focusing on the differences between us and start focusing on winning. Winning. Victory. Johnny says, fans have better Dave memories than Dave now. That is true, John. My Dave memories are foggy at best. So it is Dave Solo tonight. And this is basically what you get. Eventually, I'll get to some MMA. We have a lot of MMA talk to get to. I'm going to give you my picks for UFC 304. And as a special bonus, Prophet's picks. The legendary pro wrestler Jeremy Prophet has sent me his picks, and I will reveal them to you on the show. Tell you what the Prophet thinks. And this guy knows MMA, and he's a great pro wrestler, and he's super jacked, so he knows what he's talking about, brother. UFC 304 coming up this Saturday in Manchester, right? Yeah, Manchester, England. Whoa. That was quite a sound effect that just hit me. Alan Jagroup, welcome to the Ringside Report Network subscriber team. I like it. New subscriber, I think that was. UFC 304 coming up Saturday. It's in Manchester. It's 10 p.m. Eastern time for us, which means, what does that mean? 3 a.m. for them? That's when it starts in the arena in Manchester. Do I have that right? It's 5 hours ahead, right? That is madness that is on so late. Yeah, they're 5 hours ahead. So that's a 3 a.m. start time, which is wild. I don't understand why the UFC is doing this. I can't comprehend it because they've had pay-per-views in England before, and they have done them at 10 p.m. their time, which would be, 5 p.m. our time for the main card. And it was fine. Maybe they noticed that the number was so bad that they didn't sell pay-per-views, that they just couldn't do it again. I don't know, but it seems so rough for them, the English fans, the people in the arena in Manchester, that it has to be at 3 a.m. And that it's like a 3-hour show, maybe a 4-hour show. It's 2 title fights if they both go the distance, which I don't think they will. But if they do, it could be a 4-hour show, which for us is late. It'll end at like 2 a.m. But for them, it's 7 in the morning. 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning, you're walking out of that Manchester arena drunk and just excited because Tom Aspinall and Leon Edwards just knock guys out, and they're all hyped. And it's going to be madness out there. So good luck to Manchester, the city of Manchester, and everybody in the arena coming up on Saturday. Because, difficult. For us, though, it'll be no problem. UFC 304, normal time, pay-per-view, watch along, 10 p.m. Eastern. I promise there's going to be dudes with me on Saturday. AJ and Fred will both be back on Saturday. We're going to watch the pay-per-view with you, let you know what's going on, keep you updated. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad is the main event. It's a terrific main event. These two guys are rightfully headlining this pay-per-view. I'm very excited about this fight. Belal Muhammad is on a tremendous win streak. 9 of his last 10 fights he has won, with 1 no contest in that. And that was a fight with Leon Edwards, which you may remember happened, 3 years ago now, 2021. The no contest accidental eye poke. It ended pretty quick in the second round. Leon was looking pretty good in the first. And then there was an accidental eye poke on Belal in the second round. And Belal Muhammad made some terrible sounds. He was terrified. He thought he lost his eye. I mean, he was just making awful noises in the octagon. Just screams of pain and despair and fear, really. It was terrifying. It was one of the most disturbing sounds I've ever heard from a fighter after a fight. It sounded like a man who thought he just lost his eye or lost vision permanently in his eye. And if you look at Belal now, like, his eye looks a little Bisping-ish, a little wonky. It doesn't look right. I don't know how well he's seeing out of that eye, quite frankly. But he's been able to win some pretty big fights, maybe with one eye, maybe with 1.5 eyes. He beat Damian Maia, Wonderboy Thompson, Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, and Gilbert Burns right after the eye poke. Belal Muhammad seems to be improving, and he's 36. It's odd at this stage of an MMA career to see a guy's skills jump this much. Usually at about 34, 35, you start to see a peak and a downturn. And you've definitely seen kind of what the guy brings to the table for the most part. There's always going to be changes and evolutions, but they're not major. But Belal Muhammad just seems to be getting stronger every fight. Very impressive fights over the past couple years from Belal Muhammad, and he's earned this title shot. He should have got the title shot when Kobe Covington got the title shot, but there was some stuff going on. It's not really clear what was going on. I think the UFC just thought that Kobe Covington was going to help sell that pay-per-view more than a Belal Muhammad-Leon Edwards fight would, and that's why they put Kobe in there, because he sells tickets. He sells pay-per-views, and I don't think they were wrong about that. That was Leon Edwards' last fight. He had a unanimous decision win over Kobe Covington, completely handled him. Didn't really think Kobe belonged in there with Leon at this stage in Kobe's career. Leon is top-notch, 32 years old, on the run of his life, 22-3 as a professional with that one no contest. He hasn't fought in 7 months now. Not too long of a layoff. Leon 12-0-1 in his last 13. Hasn't lost since a loss to Kamaru Usman in 2015, which he, of course, avenged in 2022 and in 2023 with back-to-back wins over Kamaru Usman to win the title and defend it. Knocked him out with that head kick and then a majority decision in the rematch. And that brings us to Saturday night. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad and Leon Edwards met in an elevator on Fight Week. I don't know if you've all caught that. It was on an episode of UFC Embedded. The UFC released the whole clip. There was some talk between Belal and his team and Leon and his guys, and Belal was saying some stuff, and now Belal Muhammad is coming out and saying, oh, I could see fear in Leon. He's afraid. I don't really buy the notion of Leon Edwards being afraid. Why would he be afraid? He's the UFC welterweight champion. He signed a contract to fight Belal Muhammad. You wouldn't be doing this if you were actually afraid of the man, Belal Muhammad. I don't think that Leon Edwards is afraid of Belal Muhammad. I think this is something that Belal is saying to hype himself, to hype the fight. I don't know. Just always strikes me as odd when a guy goes, oh, he's afraid of me. It's like, you're about to fight in 3 days. He signed up to get locked in a cage with you for money. He can't be that afraid of you. He's done this before. He fought Kamaru Usman, right? Nate Diaz he fought. Nate Diaz is a pretty scary dude. You know? With the, he's mean. Says mean things to you. Slaps you, and then he points at you, and he laughs. That's scary. Who wants that? I think it would actually be hilarious to fight Nate Diaz. I mean, I would lose miserably, but it would be funny because he would punch me and then point at me, and I'd be like, oh, he's doing the thing. And I'd be like, oh, it hurts, but it would be fun. I would do it. I would do it at this point. Why not? As long as I can get out of it quick, I'll just tap out when it's enough. But I just think it would be funny to fight Nate Diaz. What am I talking about? Nate Diaz fights funny. He does. It's funny, but also scary. And I don't think Leon Edwards is afraid of Belal Muhammad. I think Leon Edwards is actually going to beat Belal Muhammad on Saturday. I think it'll be a tough fight, though. It could go either way. Like, Belal is very good right now. He's at the top of his game. This is the type of fight where, whoever has a better preparation, whoever comes in fresher on the night, whoever is, less injured, less banged up, has the best game plan. It's just a number of factors that are going to play into this fight that kind of lie outside of, well, he's better at this and he's better at that. It's a lot of, well, what are they preparing for? What have they seen? What has the other team seen? This is going to be a lot of it is going to come down to coaching. A lot of it is going to come down to the preparation. But I think that Leon at this level has shown, and his team, they've shown that they are ready for these moments. They are ready for these big fights. This is a huge fight. It is in his home country. I think Leon Edwards is going to show up to this one. He looked very good against Kamaru Usman, especially in the second fight. The first fight, I mean, he was losing it until he got the knockout. But the second fight he won. I thought he won that for sure on a decision. It was close, but he won it. And that was very impressive. And then he looked even better against Kobe Covington. I think Belal is very good, but I don't think he's quite a Kamaru Usman at this point. I don't think he's that type of a challenge. I think Leon Edwards has already taken on tougher challenges at this point and defeated them, and he's only getting better. He's very good at using his range. He's got deadly power. He's got good wrestling. He's very well-rounded. Good takedown defense and takedowns himself if he needs to. Leon can really do it all, and he just seems to be getting better and better at everything. Everything. So it's not really a matter of, whoa, he can do this, he can do that. I mean, I think Belal's best path to victory would be to try and out-wrestle Leon Edwards, try to take him down, and kind of do what Kamaru Usman was able to do to win some rounds. You know, take him down, keep him down. Just hold him in positions and land your strikes when you can. Win rounds. Belal could squeeze out 2 or 3 rounds doing that. Leon does start slow. You know? Belal could win the first round, win the second round, then all of a sudden Leon's in a hole, and Belal just has to win one more round, and he could take the championship. I think it's going to be very tough to finish Belal Muhammad. This is a guy who's won a lot of fights lately, who has been finished before, but not since 2016 when Vicente Luque knocked him out. He's since avenged that loss, of course, in 2022. Belal is on a serious run right now. I think he's going to be tough to put away. I could see... I think this goes to decision. I think it goes Leon's way. I think it'll probably be like a 4-1, maybe a 5-0 for Leon. I think Leon's going to win unanimously, and it'll be obvious that Leon won. I don't think he puts him away. I just think he beats him everywhere. I think he stuffs the takedowns. I think he may land some takedowns of his own. Don't be surprised if Leon pulls off a submission somehow in this fight. Like, I could see that happening in a scramble where he lands on the back and gets a rear naked choke. Like, that could happen quick. But if I had, like, a wager on the method of victory, I would say Leon by decision. I think the fight goes a distance. I think it'll be like a 4-1 scorecard, 4 rounds to 1 or 5 rounds to nothing for Leon. I think it'll be very clear that Leon Edwards won the fight. He may lose the first round, but he'll win the next 4. And it'll be obvious that he won the next 4. I don't think it'll be a decision where you go, ooh, I think Belal won or I think Leon won. It won't be an argument type of fight. I think Leon is going to outfight him, but it'll be difficult to put him away, and he won't be able to finish him. So I've got Leon Edwards by decision. I'm pretty confident in Leon winning. Odds makers are confident in Leon as well. I'll give you the odds here in a moment. I'll also give you my parlay for UFC 304. I do have a decent parlay for you. Leon Edwards minus 250, the favorite right now. Belal Muhammad plus 205. Odds makers seeing it that way. And the odds makers also seeing it. Leon Edwards, method of victory. I'm not seeing decision. Leon Edwards in a decision plus 120. Yeah. Seems about right. Edwards decision. Edwards knockout. Hold on. Edwards knockout plus 255. Edwards submission 1150. Edwards decision plus 125. Yeah. That's how the odds makers see it as well. Edwards by decision. That's the most likely outcome according to Vegas and according to Bet99.com. Go to bet99.ringsidereport.net. Sign up with us, the Ringside Report Network. I'm going with Leon by decision. Angelo wants to know how come Fred and AJ are not on the show. They're not on the show because they're on vacation. So, AJ's somewhere. I think he's out of the country visiting his money in the Cayman Islands, and Fred is fishing somewhere on a boat. That's the story that I'm telling. I'm not exactly sure where they are, but I'm pretty sure that's where they are. AJ is visiting his millions of dollars in the Cayman Islands, and Fred is fishing on a boat, putting fish in arm bars and Tarico Platas. Watch out for Fred's Tarico Plata. He's coming after you. So UFC 304 coming up Saturday night. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad for the UFC 170-pound championship in the main event. In the co-main event, it's the UFC interim heavyweight championship on the line with Tom Aspinall taking on Curtis Blades. Blades and Aspinall fought before. It was in London, also in England. I don't know if you knew that. London and Manchester in the same country of England. Little known fact. And they fought in July of 2022, a couple of years ago. We're sitting here July 2024, and Tom Aspinall blew out his knee in 15 seconds. So Curtis Blades won by TKO, but not really. Not really. Since then, Tom Aspinall knocked out Sergey Pavlovich in 69 seconds back in November. He's 7-1 in the UFC overall, with that one loss coming by, injury in the fight there against Curtis Blades where he blew out his knee. He's won 2 straight since, beat Marcin Tybura, and then recently Sergey Pavlovich for that interim heavyweight championship. John Jones is the heavyweight champion. He's supposed to fight Stipe Miocic sometime this fall, winter, probably November at Madison Square Garden. Tom Aspinall beat Sergey Pavlovich last November at Madison Square Garden for that interim heavyweight championship. Curtis Blades fought Sergey Pavlovich at one point in his career, and he's actually the last guy to beat him. Sergey Pavlovich knocked out Curtis Blades in April of last year. Blades coming off 1 win. Not a big win streak for Curtis Blades. He's won 4 of his last 5, but he had 3 wins in a row, beat Jairzinho, beat Chris Daukaus, and then he had that win over Tom Aspinall. That was like kind of a win, but not really. And then he lost to Sergey Pavlovich. He's coming off a knockout win over the very tough and dangerous Jailton Almeida. Curtis Blades has been in the UFC for a while. 2016, he made his debut against Francis Ngannou and got knocked out. But he's won a bunch of fights in the UFC. He beat Mark Hunt. He beat Alistair Overeem. He beat Junior Dos Santos, Alexander Volkov, even Tom Aspinall. He's got some big wins in some big fights. He's come up short a couple of times. Got knocked out by Derek Lewis in 2021 and knocked out by Sergey Pavlovich in 2023. And I think that's where he may find himself again here in this fight. If Tom Aspinall's knee doesn't explode on him again, I think Aspinall has a very good chance of just knocking Curtis Blades into another dimension. Aspinall is so quick. He is so powerful. He moves like a panther in the octagon. Just stealthy, dangerous. The way he put Pavlovich away was shocking. It was really next level impressive. And Aspinall is another guy who seems to be steadily improving. And he looked good early in his UFC career, but we really hadn't seen a ton from him. You know, we saw him beat Jake Collier in his UFC debut. Then he beat Alan Baudot. Both those fights didn't even go 2 minutes. His first fight lasted 45 seconds. His second fight lasted 1:35. Just finishing people with the quickness. Took him a little less time to beat Andrei Arlovsky. But at that point you go, okay, well, he's looking good, but who's he really beating? Then he beats Sergey Spivak, and it's like, okay. Then he beats Alexander Volkov in the first round with an armbar. And that's when I went, okay, you got to really take Aspinall seriously, because he's not just storming through kind of the lower levels of the heavyweight division. He's storming through some of the higher ranked guys. And then he fought Curtis Blades, and his knee blew out. But since then, he's just been better and better. He had to take a year off, came back, crushed Tybura in 1:13. Next fight, he's fighting Sergey Pavlovich, who's been destroying everybody, just ridiculous power, and he crushed him in 69 seconds. So I have no reason to doubt Tom Aspinall. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to knock out Curtis Blades. Blades has been knocked out before. He's going to want to wrestle Tom Aspinall and take him down. That's what Blades does. I don't think it's going to work. In order to wrestle, you have to get close. If you get close enough, you're going to get hit. And I think he's just going to get hit. I've got Tom Aspinall by knockout. That said, I have like a weird feeling that Blades might win somehow. Everything in my mind says Aspinall will win this fight. There is no reason to think otherwise. But weird things happen in the UFC. And this fight, I don't know. It's a tricky one. I'm going with Aspinall. But I feel like, he slipped on a banana peel a couple years ago. What's going to happen here? It was in England. It was all about him. And then, whoops. How does that affect him mentally? Fighting the same guy in your home country? Is it like, okay, how much pressure is it to right the wrongs and all of that? Like, I don't know. There's a lot going on there. Everything technically in the fight records, looking at what they've done, looking at how they fight, looking at how they win and how they lose, and how they're performing, I would say Tom Aspinall for sure. But fighting isn't all about that. There's other stuff at play. There's pressure, there's mental things, there's family, there's friends, there's whatever's going on. Right? Paddy the Baddy has been talking about it. He was going through some serious depression in his fight camp, having a terrible fight camp. And then he was able to turn it around, and he feels like the past 3 weeks have been really good for him. And, he's very open about the ups and downs. And maybe Aspinall's feeling down. Like, you never know what's going on. Sometimes you find out after. Sometimes you don't. But, on paper, Aspinall wins this fight, but I got a weird feeling about it. I wouldn't bet on it. I don't know why. I feel like it's just the way the Blades fight went last time. You go, well, what's going to happen now? Anything could happen. Like that last fight, you thought, well, Aspinall for sure is going to win. But if you bet on Curtis Blades to win, you would have won your money. Yeah. Bobby Green, 5-4-1 in his last 10 fights. 5-4-1 since 2021. That's not particularly great. He's 37 years old. He's fighting Paddy the Baddy, who's won 7 in a row in all 5 of his UFC fights. I've got Paddy the Baddy in that one. Paddy the Baddy fighting Bobby the Green.
Welcome.
Bobby Green coming off a decision win over Jim Miller. Paddy the Baddy coming off a decision win over Tony Ferguson. I mean, similar wins. Patty looked good in that Tony Ferguson fight. But it's Tony Ferguson at this point in his career, so but Patty should win this one. He really should. I think Patty wins. I think the emotion from the crowd is going to help him. They're going to be really behind their guy, Paddy the Batty, in Manchester. So I've got Paddy the Batty getting the win over Bobby the Green. Bobby is tough. Bobby is durable. Bobby has good power. But I think Paddy's just going to be a little too athletic for him. I think Paddy is going to he's going to be quicker on the draw. When they get into range, Paddy's going to be able to land more because he's going to be faster. And some of that is age and some of that is Paddy. But I think Paddy is going to have success standing with Bobby Green and win a decision. It's a 3-rounder. I think he wins 2-1 or 3-0. I've got Paddy winning. Christian Leroy Duncan going to fight Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez on this fight. RoboCop coming in as a late replacement. And Arnold Allen takes on Giga Chikadze to round out the pay-per-view. That one a featherweight fight. I like Arnold Allen to beat Giga Chikadze in that fight as well. Arnold Allen right now minus 230. Giga is plus 190. I could give you my parlay. I could give you Profits picks. I could check in on the chat. What's happening? Oh, Antoinette. Antoinette is happening. She just gifted Ankit Sharma a membership to the Ringside Report Network. Thank you, Antoinette. Antoinette has been a member now for 42 months. That's incredible. She says, wow, has it been that long? Welcome back, Dave. Thank you. Antoinette is packing, flying out Saturday on vacation. Where are you going, Antoinette? I mean, you don't have to tell us if you don't want to, but where are you going? That's cool. Going on vacation. That's nice. I just came back from vacation. It was fantastic. By the beach. Living it up. Eating good. Living good. And now we're back on the grind. Okay, Dave's picks. Let's do it. Let's go with the Team Dave parlay. I'm going to give you Leon, the Edman Edwards. That's not his nickname. Does he have a nickname, Leon Edwards? Rocky? Nah. It's not great. I'm going with Leon Edwards. I'm going to go with Arnold Allen. And let's give you another one. Whew. A lot of tricky fights on this one. I got Leon, Arnold. Let's go with Paddy the Batty. Paddy the Batty. Oh, Paddy the Batty. Let's do it. Paddy the Batty. $20 on a 3-fight parlay for Team Dave will get you $78.53 over at bet99.com. Paddy the Batty. We're going with Paddy the Batty in Manchester. Arnold Allen and Leon Edwards. All British, baby. We're going for the UK takeover in Manchester. I mean, they don't have to take over. They've got a pretty good handle on Manchester. $78.43 is your payout for the 3-fight parlay for Team Dave's $20 parlay at bet99.com this weekend for UFC 304. Where am I? There I am. So that is the Team Dave parlay. I'll also give you a couple single fight bets here as we finish up our UFC 304 preview. I've got some other news bits to tell you about. I'm going to give you a Dave special where 20 gets you 49 at bet99.com. It's a opening fight. It is Alice Ardeline plus 145 over Shauna Bannon, minus 170. I'm going with the underdog, Alice Ardeline, who's a TikTok star and an Instagram star. She has over 500,000 followers on Instagram, which is pretty shocking for an opening fighter on the UFC. She's made her name on TikTok, apparently. I don't know that much about her. That's about as far as I go. But I believe she's going to win. She's taking this fight on short notice. And I like what she's done in her MMA career, what I've seen over Shauna Bannon. I'm going with, excuse me, Alice Ardeline in the opening fight, which is kind of my specialty. Opening fight, women's MMA. That's where I give you the good picks. And I like Alice Ardeline plus 145. 20 gets you 49 over at bet99.com for that one, which is pretty good. What else is on this card? Molly McCann is fighting, minus 340, plus 270 is Bruna Brazil. I think Molly's probably set up to win there in Manchester. Everybody loves Meatball Molly McCann in her home country. Modestas Bukauskas is fighting Marcin Prachnio. That's a decent fight. Mohamed Mokaev taking on Manel Cape. That's a big fight, too. I know my buddy Jeremy Profit's going with the underdog plus 135 Manel Cape. I think that's a risky play. Mokaev is dangerous. I kind of think that Profit believes that Cape's going to get the knockout because Mokaev does get hit a lot. He leaves himself open, and Cape has some power. But I think Mokaev still weathers the storm, gets the key takedowns, and wins the fight. He is Dagestan strong, this guy, Mohamed Mokaev. He's no joke. I've got Mokaev over Cape. Mokaev right now, minus 155. Yeah, I think he's going to win the fight. My buddy Jeremy Profit, who's a great pro wrestler, go check him out in your area. He's got Manel Cape. He's got Prachnio. He's got Billy Allen, Arnold Allen, and Leon Edwards. Yeah. I think Arnold Allen beats Giga. I like Leon Edwards big time over Belal Muhammad. Who else does he like? Prachnio over Modestas Bukauskas. Yeah, I could see that. I think I'd go with Modestas Bukauskas, though. And I got Mokaev over Cape, too. Interesting picks here. UFC 304. A lot of people going with Leon Edwards, though. It feels like he is the move. Antoinette says she's going to go with my picks. And she is going to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And she's coming to Montreal in September. Nice. And Edmonton in November? Oh, Edmonton's getting UFC in November. I thought Antoinette was just traveling around the country. Saskatoon, Edmonton, Montreal, New Glasgow, Burnaby. She's going everywhere. All the places. All across the great nation of Canada. So UFC 304 coming up Saturday night. We'll do the watch along with you here starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on the Ringside Report Network. Nick Diaz was supposed to fight soon against Vicente Luque, but that's not happening anymore. It was postponed because of a travel issue. I'm not really sure what that means. It was supposed to be in Abu Dhabi, and somebody can't go to Abu Dhabi, I guess. And they're saying that the Diaz-Luque fight has been postponed, but they haven't actually said when or if that's real or not. So that's disappointing news. I didn't really want to see Nick Diaz fight Vicente Luque. It didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me to have a legend who hasn't fought very often, who hasn't fought in a couple years at least at this point, who, against a guy who's still ranked at welterweight. It just didn't make any sense, but hey, that's what the UFC was trying to do. It made that card more interesting, but now Nick Diaz is off that show. So hopefully they find another fight for Nick Diaz, and it's against somebody else. I'd rather he not fight Vicente Luque. I'd rather that than him fight Jake Paul, though. Jake Paul knocked out Mike Perry last weekend. Mike Perry, the bare knuckle boxing fighting champion. And he knocked him out in a, boxing match. And then he says he's going to fight Mike Tyson in November on Netflix. Apparently that's still happening, which is crazy. And then he wants Alex Pereira in a boxing match. Alex Pereira, UFC light heavyweight champion, Poatan, that guy. The guy that just smoked Yuri Prohaska, that guy. He wants that guy in a boxing match. I doubt the UFC would allow that to happen, given that Alex is maybe their biggest star at this point. He's the biggest star that's fighting as regular as Pereira. You need a big pay-per-view, you call Alex Pereira. There's no way the UFC lets him fight Jake Paul now, but I think Jake Paul maybe knows that, and that's why he's calling him out. Because, come on, dude. I know you feel hyped when you knock out a guy like Mike Perry, but, Mike Perry's not Alex Pereira. Let's not forget, again, Jake Paul fought a guy who fought at 170 in the UFC. Jake Paul keeps fighting welterweights. He keeps fighting smaller guys. Everybody says, oh, Mike Perry's not small. He's not this. He's bare knuckle. Come on. Come on. He's fighting old guys and smaller guys. And sometimes it's smaller old guys. And then he wants to say he wants to fight Alex Pereira? I don't think so. If I were Dana White, I'd say, okay, let's do it. And then just let Alex Pereira unleash on that man. Because he would destroy him. It would be gruesome. Gruesome. Won't happen, though. Shouldn't happen. Because Jake Paul, from a fight skills, from a fighter level standpoint, has no business being in a ring with Alex Pereira in 2024 or 2025. He's not at that level. Alex Pereira shouldn't lower himself to fighting a guy like that. He's a world championship level fighter. He shouldn't be fighting Jake Paul. And I think it would be very easy. I think he'd destroy him. So, Jake Paul did win, though. I expected him to win. I mean, come on. Let's be real. He was going to beat Mike Perry last weekend. That was a plan. And Johnny North says, AJ has the sources, has a lot to say about Trump next week. Oh, my goodness. I didn't know that. I'm sure he does. AJ's been sending me all sorts of stuff all week, all past couple weeks. He's been nonstop. He's very excited about Hulk Hogan appearing at that Republican thing. It was cool when he ripped his shirt off. Who doesn't like Terry ripping his shirt off? It's quite a concert they put on there for the Donald Trump-a-mania. Quite a performance they all had with the Kid Rock and the Dana White and the Hulk Hogan. I was like, what is this show? Is this like a special episode of Monday Night Raw? What's happening right now? It was so weird. I mean, I'll give it to them. It was cool. I mean, I like seeing that. Like Dana White's like, yeah, we're here. This guy Trump is so cool. Kid Rock's like, bah with the bah, ba dang, trumpet, dun, da da band, the trumpet, shot in ear. It's like, whoa, man. Take it easy, Kid Rock. It's going crazy. He shot a can of beer, I think. It was nuts. Hogan was there. Raw, brother! Let me tell you something, Donald Trump. We're going to leg drop Andre the Giant and Yokozuna together, dude. Somebody had to tell Hogan, like, they're dead, you know. He's like, what, brother? No! You know? Crazy. And then they did the handshake. Ooh, yeah. Is that my imagination, or did all that happen? Did I dream that? I think I dreamt that. Was Linda McMahon there? I didn't even see Linda McMahon, John. I didn't even see her. I wanted to see Vince, quite frankly. I think he would have fit in with the crowd. No? I mean, him and Trump, I think, are still buddies. Antoinette says Trump train. What exactly is a Trump train? I don't think I want to know. That sounds halfway illegal. You know? Yikes. I'm going to go run a Trump train. You're going to what? Pardon me? No. Linda gave a speech. I didn't see Linda's speech. I'm sure it was boring as hell. Like her promos. Terrible. Good God almighty, Linda McMahon. How could she treat Jim Ross like that, pal? Oh, God. Okay. That's it. I've done it all. I've said it all. We've seen it all. We've run the Trump train right into the ground. And now we will say goodnight and see you again probably tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, it's because I have taken a extra vacation day, which I'm still debating. So we'll see. I will probably be here tomorrow, but I might not be here tomorrow. If I'm not here tomorrow, I'll definitely be here on Saturday. Okay? I'll give you that. How about that? It's the summertime. Fred and AJ aren't even here. Like, come on. You know what I mean? I do want to talk wrestling with Johnny North tomorrow night, so it's difficult. But I have some things that I might have to do tomorrow night where I won't be around to do anything, and there may not be a show tomorrow, but there may be a show. There's probably going to be a show. Just tune in and find out. But definitely tune in Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, for the UFC 304 watch-along. It's going to be a lot of fun. Freddie and AJ will be here with me. There should be an episode of Wrestling Uncensored tomorrow, but I don't know. I might be hanging out with Paulie. We'll see. Paulie calls. We'll see what's happening. Okay. Thank you for watching. Solo Dave. I hope it's been fun and not too bad. You know, just me. Because it's just me. It's not, it's not AJ and Fred. Those guys are, electric. So that's why I have them on. I miss those guys. I wish they were here with me. I hope they're enjoying their time. And I will see them again on Saturday night, right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see